The iPhone 8 is here. Same basic shape and feel as last year's iPhone 7, but with the huge physical difference of adding a glass back instead of metal. This is my first time touching the iPhone 8 since Apple didn't invite me out to their launch event, not really sure why. And the glass makes it surprisingly heavy, which I actually really like. Will this new glass iPhone have the same structural integrity that the metal iPhones had previously? There's literally only one way to find out. Let's get started. Apple claims that this is the most durable glass ever on a smartphone. Pretty bold claim. I've tested over 75 different phones now, and I think we should start with the scratch test first. I have a set of Mohs hardness picks that differentiate between different minerals. Plastic screen phones would scratch at a level 3. Glass is usually around a 5 or a 6 on Mohs scale, and real sapphire scratches at a level 8 or 9. As far as scratching goes, this glass scratched at a level 6, with a deeper groove at a level 7, which is the exact same score that the iPhone 7 got last year, as well as the Note 8 and most other tempered glass flagships these days. When Apple says most durable, they might be talking about impacts and drops instead of scratch resistance. Let me know in the comments if you think I should drop test a couple of these phones. Even though the screen is impervious to my razor blade, coins, and keys, I would still recommend a screen protector. Plenty of other dust, minerals, and pocket sand are harder than a level 6, and can cause micro abrasions. Speaking of sapphire, Apple does claim to use some sapphire on their phones, namely the camera lenses, so we'll have to put that to the test. Again, the home button is not affected by my razor blade, so it won't get damaged or scratched up while sliding around in your pocket or purse, and that's good for durability. Up at the top of the phone, we have the 7-megapixel front-facing camera tucked under that same slab of front glass, so it is protected against major scratches and damage as well. With previous versions of the iPhone, Apple used a flimsy metal screen to cover the earpiece, which sometimes could jostle and fall out. But nowadays they use a more permanent, solid metal screen which will not fall out or dislodge. Bonus points for that one. The gold glass iPhone 8 has a solid slab covering the entire rear surface of the phone. Still undamaged by my razor blade, it's also good to see the Apple logo and the iPhone text are layered under the glass and not exposed on the surface. This means they won't rub or wear away with use or time. It's pretty cool how the dual-tone LED flash blends so perfectly with the pink and gold color of this phone. Protected under the glass surface, things are still looking sleek and aesthetic. One cool thing is that right next to the camera lens there's a little microphone hole that has a metal grill in it. Apple's attention to small detail and aesthetics is amazing. Most phones just leave it as a hole with no protection. And now for the camera lens. Apple claims that this is made from sapphire. Sapphire is a super premium and expensive and durable material that resists scratching until level 8 or 9 on Mohs scale. Testing out this claim with my razor blade, which is about a 5.5 on Mohs scale, leaves no scratches, which is great. And that means that this camera lens is just as durable as regular glass so far. But when I test Apple's sapphire with my Mohs picks, I see visible marks at a level 6, and a level 7, and a deep catching groove at a level 8. It looks like Apple's still using their own proprietary blend of sapphire. I delved pretty deep into this subject during a previous video, and it is indeed aluminum oxide, which is the ingredients of sapphire. But my Mohs picks and an electron microscope indicate that it is a lower grade material than the actual pure sapphire that's used in Tissot's premium high-end watches or the full sapphire display on the HTC Ultra Sapphire Edition, both of which didn't scratch until level 8. Apple might have extreme attention to detail, but it's my opinion that they cut some corners with this sapphire stuff. I did buy one of their overpriced sapphire Apple watches to test, and that should arrive today sometime. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that durability test. There is a metal ring around the camera lens, but the weird part is that the camera lens sticks up even farther than the metal ring does, so there's no protection for that lens. And since it scratches at a level 6 instead of a level 8, it still needs that protection. Now the sides of the phone are real metal, so Apple did a good job there. This handles keys and coins very well, but my razor blade manages to remove some color, exposing that silver 7000 series aluminum underneath. So it's probably best to not keep your razor and phone in the same pocket. The SIM card tray and power buttons are both metal, along with the buttonless and portless top of the phone. The volume buttons and mute switch are also metal, bonus points for that. I'm still definitely a huge fan of that mute switch, by the way. I wish more Android phones had that feature. The singular proprietary lightning port is at the bottom of the phone, still metal down here as well, and still no headphone jack. But Apple has been kind enough to include a dongle in the box if you don't happen to have one of your own. Now I do like to roast Apple every now and then, physically and verbally, and one cool thing about the IPS Retina display is that after about 10 seconds in extreme heat, the pixels go black and turn off. But after the heat is removed and the pixels cool down, they recover completely. The phone is cool to the touch within seconds. It's still important to not try this on your own phone because the flame does burn off the oleophobic exterior coating on the glass. I have been contacted by several angry mothers whose kids have burned phones, so please don't try this at home. Speaking of things to not try at home, it's time for the ultimate test of durability. Nothing stresses the construction of a phone like a bin test, and whether you're an Android fan or an Apple user, everyone can appreciate a well-built phone. And this is indeed a well-built phone. There is zero flex to this device. If you remember on my iPhone 7 bin test last year, the waterproofing adhesive was ruined by the bend, but this has since been corrected with the iPhone 8. I'm very impressed. There is no glass separation on the front or the back, no matter how you bend it. This phone is definitely Skinny Jean approved. The last thing I want to point out as a bonus and thumbs up to Apple's build quality is the rear glass panel. It has a lip of plastic around the edge as a cushion to protect the glass during drops, so the plastic helps out. Smart design choice. The front screen also has a plastic cushion around the glass as well. Most people wouldn't notice this subtle detail, but Apple does put an extraordinary amount of thought and design into their phones. Well, except for the